Well, hello everybody, it's Richard here. Welcome back to my channel. And just if you're new to the channel, thank you for joining me, and don't forget to subscribe if you like the content. If you're also a member, don't forget to press the little bell so that you know the next time I'm uploading. So just like to wish everybody a very happy Sunday, and hope you're all okay and keeping well in coronavirus lockdown days. Here in the UK, we're hoping to hear some good news this afternoon or this evening when our Prime Minister Boris Johnson is going to announce some releasing of the brakes, as it were, about the social distancing and also the measures that are going to be put in place so that we can start to get the economy back driving again. Let me just have a bit of wine. That's very nice. Good old barefoot there on rosé. So to date, apart from yesterday's figures of 31,000 people sadly passing away in both hospitals and in the community, which includes care homes, we need to add another 200 deaths to that today. I don't know what the breakdown is, because the briefing from the government and Boris Johnson talking about releasing the brakes on the lockdown will be at 7 o'clock this evening, and it's now 10 to 5 here in the United Kingdom. So I haven't got many stats for you today, but I've been doing loads of other stuff. So yeah, so without further ado, as I like to say, I've been busy today getting my garage sorted out. Remember yesterday I spoke to you and said that I was doing the front of the garage. That's all the white work. That's the soffit and barge board across the front, and also the garage posts themselves. And I'd completed that task. Today I started to the big task of the main door itself, which of course needs rubbing down and also preparing for the new paint. And I'm going to be using some very nice red paint. The garage was blue, and it's been that way for since I moved into the house, and that's well over 20 years ago, so it hasn't done too badly. I think I might have done it once before. I may have painted it once before, but I really can't recollect. So it's going to be some nice red paint, which I'll show you, and put a picture of how things have been going to date. Today, that is. But unfortunately this afternoon it started to the wind started to get up, and it also looked like rain, which is just raining out there now, just spitting. So I managed to finish all the prep work, which is 90% of the job in my view of any thing that I ever do. And so I've concentrated on the electricals now, because remember yesterday I showed you a picture of that lamp, the outside coach lamp, that had completely seized, and I managed to find a new one on eBay. The second one, or the first one depending on your viewpoint, is fine, and I will gonna remove the rust from that and treat that. So I'll do that tomorrow once I've finished a bit of work in the morning and had my Monday run. So on that note, but yesterday was the second day, I suppose, of VE Day, and the BBC was showing that amazing film called The Darkest Hour, when Jerry Oldman plays Winston Churchill. I think this is the better movie out of the previous one, which was came out 2017, which is called Churchill, which is by Brian Cox did that. So I think I don't know what you think, but I think this, if you've seen these, by the way, they are really very, very good. This one, The Darkest Hour. And there was something else in this movie that I didn't realise, I must have missed, although it is a while ago since I've seen it the first time round, and that is that Chamberlain and Halifax were very against us pulling the troops back and going to war. They wanted to negotiate with Mussolini as Hitler's lackey, as Churchill rightly says. And I really think that we got away with things very finely here in the UK, and thanks to our American friends who finally came in. And you hear Churchill talking to Eisenhower on the telephone, asking him for some help, and of course his hands are tied by the arrangements about the non-proliferation treaty they had with Germany, and even suggested that he could give them some planes which Britain had purchased apparently, and push them across the border into Canada and then pick them up from there. So it was quite historically. I think it's a very good film actually. But I'll see what you think. Certainly, it was a winner of the BAFTA leading actor and best Academy Award-winning best actor as well. So and Joe Wright, the director of The Atonement, was actually involved in that film. So very, very good. But I thought as it was VE Day, it would be a good way of celebrating that. And so it was nice to see it on the BBC. So today's records, yes, today, the tune a day today, I'm going to have another comedy record, and the one I'm going to play today is on the Panacord label, and that's by Maurice Winnick. This record came out in 1932, and it's called Let's All Sing Like the Birdies Sing. It's a comedy waltz, and it's Maurice Winnick and his orchestra at the Charlton Hotel, London. The Charlton Hotel, London. Get my teeth in. So it's the B side. They've got a B on this one. So this is Panacord 25361-B. The A side is Sweet Machala, is it? A rumba on this side. Again, it's with Maurice Winnick. This is another one from my childhood collection. I keep all the ones I originally had as a boy, aged 10 plus, in a separate place, because they always have a bit of a good memory for me, because whenever I play them I think about the days when I was very young and we lived in the house along the seafront at Hythe in Kent. My parents still live in Sandgate. We lived in Hythe for a long time, but they now live in Sandgate and enjoy the sun there right on the seafront still, and great time. But I do remember this record. Didn't know who Maurice Winnick was, knew nothing about dance bands, but one thing I did know was I loved this record, so I thought I'd share it with you today. And the second one I'm going to play is side 6 on the Oracle label, The Night, the Long Night Ends. This is getting to the end of the Second World War, and Eisenhower speaks on this record. And then there's a very sad piece at the end where they liberate some of those camps, Dachau, Auschwitz, and some of the historical bits there. And so yes, a very nice recording. Hope you enjoy that. Everyone seems to be enjoying that. And also I've got an apology to make, because I forgot to switch off Not Made for Kids, or Made for Kids, which is a contradiction in my view with YouTube, in that you have to press this button to say not made for kids. Well, I'm sure children wouldn't mind watching any of my content, so I have a problem with that. But it means, of course, that it disconnects any comments that people want to make. So I have to say not made for kids, meaning you can comment. So I forget to do that sometimes. So I do apologise for all those frustrated people out there. But from yesterday's video, I've now pressed that button so you can comment if you want to go back and watch that one. But hope that was okay with everybody, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and comment. Otherwise, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow. All the very best. Bye for now. A tune a day to keep the coronavirus away on the Panacord label. Let's All Sing Like the Birdies Sing, comedy waltz, Maurice Winnick and his orchestra at the Carlton Hotel, London, with vocal refrain. Enjoy.
Ah, hark to the beautiful song of our feathered friends.
Our what?
Our feathered friends. Why, you've no poetry in you. Have you no soul?
I've got a good pair of rubber heels.
Oh, to be able to sing like a bird.
Yes, wouldn't it be a lark?
Some folks sing opera, some folks sing slack, some sing like sewing wood, I'm one like that. But when the dicky birds sing in the trees, I feel we ought to try and sing like these. Let's all sing like the birdies sing, tweet, 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 tweet. Let's all sing like the birdies sing, tweet, 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 tweet. Let's all warble like nightingales, give your throats a treat. Take your time from the birds, now you know all the words. Tweet, 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 tweet. Now you know all the words. Take a time from the birds.
Sweet, 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 sweet.
Now you know all the words. Take a time from the birds.
Sweet, 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 sweet.
Now you know all the words. Take a time from the birds.
Sweet, 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 sweet.
On the oral label, The Sounds of Time, The Long Night Ends, side 6.
Within 2 months, Montgomery's armies struck. The sounds you are listening to now are the sounds of the 8th Army's artillery barrage blasting open at El Alamein a triumphant road that led on to Tripoli and Rome. Then came that great day for which an enslaved continent had waited and prayed. For months, the quiet lanes and ports of southern England had absorbed a vast concentration of men and weapons. Behind locked doors in London, service commanders and scientists had planned and replanned the greatest amphibious invasion in military history. When all was ready, the quiet voice of Ike Eisenhower heralded D-Day 1944.
People of Western Europe, a landing was made this morning on the coast of France by troops of the Allied Expeditionary Force. This landing is part of the concerted United Nations plan for the liberation of Europe.
In Nazi-occupied Paris, patriots heard that voice and were to remember it 3 months later when the capital greeted its liberators. But at Alamein, Rome, Paris, Brussels are milestones. Between them, men died, whole towns and villages were wiped out, and new epics were written into the annals of military fame. At Arnhem, for 8 days, the 1st Airborne Division clung desperately to a bridgehead ringed and pulverized by Nazi guns, mortars, and bombs. If you want to know what hell sounds like, listen to this recording made at Arnhem itself by one of the men who came back, BBC correspondent Stanley Maxted.
You can hear the kind of flight that those planes are flying through. It's absolutely like hail up there. These enemy guns all around us are just simply hammering at those planes. But so far I haven't seen any of them hit. But the bundles are coming down. The parachutes are coming down. That's all that these men ask.
In London, the last robot plane had dipped its warhead and dived from the sky. One final trick was to be pulled out of the bag of perverted Nazi science before the British people knew the peace of friendly skies. The V-2, outstripping sound in its lightning plunge from the stratosphere. But now the Allied armies were chasing the shattered Wehrmacht across the Rhine.
We're in. The Buffalo dipped his nose down the bank, and now he's opening up full power. 3 minutes to go, and we are racing across. And side by side with us go racing the other Buffaloes, racing for that hell on the other side. The searchlights cast a white beam now right across the river on one side of us, but ahead of us is only red water. The current's carrying us down, and we're putting up our nose against it, going clean across it all the time.
and the tracers making a path on either side of us, beating down the opposition.
Deep into Nazi Germany plunged the racing columns of mechanized armies. And as they advanced, they tore aside veils that had shielded the worst of Hitler's infamies from outside eyes. A wave of horror swept across the civilized world when the armies of liberation reached the gates of Belsen, Auschwitz, Dachau. Out of the nightmare of those charnel houses, the living shells of decent men tottered into the arms of wives and mothers, and humanity bowed its head in shame.
Und ich freue mich, dass ihr alle gesund und munter wiedersehe. Alle Freunde und Bekannte, alle Genossen, ja, es wird wieder gut. Mami, Mami.